Welcome back, everyone, to the late night review. And tonight I am happy, very happy to do another Superman review. And tonight I'm going to be talking about it's still one of my favorite movies, and I say that without any shame, even though the special effects are not good. In most scenes are not good, but I still love this movie. Got a ton of nostalgia for it, and it features the greatest Superman that I've ever seen put on the suit, Christopher Reeve, and I'm talking about Superman 4. And I do like this movie. A lot of people don't. It's been criticized over the years, and the special effects are not good in most scenes. Some scenes are fine, but just to have Christopher Reeve as Superman, and I have to say too, I love all four Christopher Reeve movies. I love Supergirl with Helen Slater. I like all of these films. Am I biased a little bit? Yes, because I'm a Superman fan. Since I was a kid, he was always my favorite superhero. Very favorite superhero. I mean, I can say that without thinking twice. He's always been my favorite superhero. Yes, there's some seconds, pretty close seconds in a way, kind of close, like Shazam. Always like Shazam. Thor, and Aquaman, Martian Manhunter. The list goes on. I can talk about them, all day. The Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man. Like I said, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman. There's so many that I like, really do. So many different interesting characters in the DC and Marvel universes. And Hawkman, I always liked Hawkman. Of course, Supergirl. I can just talk about it over and over again, go on and on, but I know there's some that I'm missing. I know, Submariner. So many that I've always liked, but I know more, quite a bit more. I'm not an expert on comic book characters, but I know more about Superman than most other characters, if not all other characters. Not an expert on. I don't claim to be an expert on Superman either, but I grew up reading, looking at Superman comic books. My favorite Superman artist of all time is Kurt Swan. But I have to say, even though I don't have nostalgia for him, but I really grew to like his art a lot. Alex Ross. I love Alex Ross's art. But I grew up looking at Superman comic books from the Silver Age and Bronze Age, of course. But I really was taken by Kurt Swan. There's so many good Superman artists. Wayne Boring, Jack Kirby, loved his art. Really do love Jack Kirby's art. What a creative genius he was, creating so many different characters. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster created Superman, but uh, Jack Kirby created many, many other characters. I thought he created Darkseid too, which was a fantastic character. I think he did create Darkseid in multiple Doctor Doom, I believe he created, and multiple others, many, many others. And but the comic books are. I have so much nostalgia for Kurt Swan's comic books, and of course Dan Jurgens, Neil Adams, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, if I remember his name right. And there's so many that were great, and had the wallpaper on my bedroom wall when I was a kid. Superman, the superpowers, super friends, and all that stuff. I loved super friends, especially superpowers. I really liked superpowers the best when I was a kid. The Superman films with Christopher Reeve were my favorite as a kid. Those are my favorite movies, bar none. I love them all, and I even love part four. Even love part four. And I thought Mark Pillow did a great job as Nuclear Man. What a villain. I only wish they would bring him back in these comic book movies that they're making, but do it right with the same or similar outfit. Have to have the right guy playing him. You've got to have the right guy and have the right outfit. I kind of hope they don't bring him back until they get that right. And just Superman with Christopher Reeve was so awesome. When he put on the tights, when he put on the uniform, he looked powerful. Nowadays, some of the uniforms I'm not crazy about at all. I think they're too dark. They don't look powerful. I really love that classic Silver Age Superman look and into the Bronze Age. Really loved it. his uniform was bright, colorful, and you know what? That made him and the uniform look more powerful. There was almost a glow to it, something supernatural about it, something that made it more powerful. I love those bright colors of Superman because he looked stronger, looked something like angelic, something more powerful, and love those colors. Christopher Reeve did great as Superman and Clark Kent. I don't think we've had a better Superman or even equal Superman. There's been some good ones, so I have to say, I do. There have been actors who did the part well, Brandon Routh, and so many others, and Henry Cavill. Of course, George Reeves, going way, way back. He did a great job. But and there's been others too. And of course, Tom Welling in Smallville playing a younger Superman did a fantastic job. We used to watch that show all the time. And my parents used to watch it all the time, and I liked it. Really good show. But Christopher Reeve as Superman, I personally probably don't think there's going to be another one equal to him. I've said this in the past, and not that he would be equal or better than Christopher Reeve. I think Christopher Reeve was the best we've gotten so far, and probably will be the best we'll ever get as Superman. But I have this fantasy. I always wish Clint Walker would have played a young Clint Walker playing Superman, and then maybe have Telly Savalas play Lex Luthor. Enemies, and maybe, or Yul Brynner playing Lex Luthor, or Brainiac Yul Brynner. I've always thought about that. But Superman 4, get back to the movie I'm supposed to be talking about. I really do like Superman 4. I think the story is good. I think it's interesting. I saw it at the theater at the Roxy in Renton when I was a kid with my dad, my uncle, and my cousin. Remember when the movie first started, Superman 4, my cousin said, I'm excited because the showed Warner Brothers, and then it started to play the music, and then he says, I'm excited. And I said, me too. I was so pumped to see it. And I liked it. At the time, I liked the special effects, but I didn't really compare it to other films. Looking back on it, I know the special effects were not good in most scenes. I liked the scene where, I like a lot of scenes in there, but I thought the scene where he saved the cosmonauts at the beginning in outer space, we had pretty decent special effects. I didn't really see anything wrong with it there. But there's other parts of the movie where he's flying through Metropolis and you can see a white line kind of around his body, and Nuclear Man too. And yeah, the special effects were very poor in certain scenes, many scenes, but it had that great score, that original John Williams score in there, tweaked, but it had that score. Love that. And I love Christopher Reeve's performance. Christopher Reeve's performance was so good in all the Superman films. Had Mark McClure coming back, Margot Kidder, Jackie Cooper. You had Mariel Hemingway joining the cast. I thought they all did a really good job. I love Superman 4, and I'm unashamed to say that, yes, the special effects were bad, but I thought the story was good. I actually think it had the potential to be the best Superman if the money would have been put into the special effects. And if they would have had, it's too bad Richard Donner and Richard Lester were not involved as directors in here. I know there was some trouble, and that would probably never happen. But if it would have had the special effects to make it really come to life, to make those special effects better, and if the script would have been what Christopher Reeve kind of signed up for, because I heard he had script approval because he did not want to make another Superman after disappointing. Even though I love Superman 3, it was not a success at the box office as far as I remember. And there was some criticisms of it, and he really didn't want to play it again. I loved him as Superman, though, but he got script approval, but the movie was edited and changed so much by the time it came to film and shoot. It just wasn't the same movie anymore that he agreed. At least it was quite different from what I heard in the documentaries that I'd seen. And even this Superman comic book, I think is Wizard Comics, it has little facts in there talking about the film. But Yeah, it just, to me, it had the potential to be the best, but if it would have had the budget for the special effects, and if they would have taken more time to really make it work and make it better, even though I really liked the movie a lot, it had the potential to be the best. I was so pumped to see the trailer, the preview on TV before we saw it at the theater. Nuclear Man was so powerful, and the lightning coming from his hands, kind of the yellow lightning, his outfit. Christopher Reeve, Superman, had to fight this guy. And, and the fight that they had was pretty interesting. It was very comic booky. I think they could have done better with the fight. I think if they would have made the action more faster, if they would have had him do different moves in the fight, made it more uh, kind of action packed and more punching. But I think the fight was fun, interesting. I do like the movie. I love the outfits. And you know what? When I was a kid, I remember when I saw Superman 4, I'd watch it over and over and over again. I love Christopher Reeve's uniform in every film, but I used to mess with the color on the TV, where you open the little flap on the side with the old TV sets and you can change the colors by twisting the knobs and everything. And I remember I made his uniform even brighter. I was playing with the blue and the red and the yellow and just making the color more pronounced and making it better, making him even brighter before the film started, just messing around with it. I got a lot of nostalgia for this. Some of my friends didn't really care for the movie too much, but everyone knew I liked it, saw it at the theater. I do like this movie a lot. A lot of it is nostalgia, but think about it. Christopher Reeve as Superman, that's a plus in this movie. I thought the acting and the performances were good for a Superman film, so for a comic book film. I thought they were good. I'm glad he visited Smallville at the beginning to see the old ranch, the farm. My dad, my uncle, they grew up on a farm that looked almost exactly like that. That farm that was in the original Superman, and then of course in Superman 4, they grew up on a farm that looked almost exactly like that. They did in North Dakota. My dad, my uncles, my grandparents, they moved there. I don't remember if it was in Minot, North Dakota, or Grand Forks. I'm not sure. But yeah, my uncle told me we grew up on a farm that looked exactly like the farm that Glenn Ford was on with in Superman. And then, of course, in Superman 4, he revisited it. Just a farm like that was in my family. And I'm so glad he went back to see his family farm, went back to his roots. And there was a decency about the film. I liked it. Christopher Reeve, it's a tragedy what happened to him. I loved him. The Superman movies were my favorite movies as a kid. I love them so much still now. And I wish he would have been in more. I wish he would have just focused on the Superman character and actually wanted to be Superman in more and more films because he did it so well. I think there was a calling there for him, and he played the part so wonderfully. And I wish he would have been in part five. I heard part five was supposed to be fighting. He was supposed to fight Brainiac. Brainiac, one of my very favorite comic book characters of all time. Great comic book villains. I always liked him. Didn't know a lot about him. I always liked him, but did not know a lot about him until I researched him recently. But I grew up watching him. I just didn't know too much about his superpowers or his origin until recently that I started looking it up. But I always admired him as a character as a kid from what I knew about him, from what I could kind of absorb at that age. But he was supposed to fight Brainiac in Superman 5. Man, if Christopher Reeve would have came back and if he would have never got hurt, gosh, just something to think about. Great Superman, and I love Christopher Reeve's performances in the Superman films, but he was also in another good movie, quite a few movies, but another good movie, Seawolf, with him and Charles Bronson. You know I like Charles Bronson. I've said that in other videos, have the Death Wish movie reviews on this channel. Christopher Reeve, Superman, Christopher Reeve, and Charles Bronson in Seawolf. Very good movie to me. I liked it a lot. But Superman 4 is one of my favorite films of all time. I still like it a lot. with all, even though it has bad special effects in many scenes, I enjoy it. I can watch it anytime. It's one of those movies that has high rewatchability for me. And if you're a Superman fan, I think you'll enjoy it. A lot of people probably wouldn't enjoy it because of the special effects, but I like it so much. I think there's more positives than negatives. I highly recommend it if you're a Superman fan. If you like Christopher Reeve and his portrayal as Superman a lot, I really recommend this movie. Doesn't guarantee you're going to like it, but I do enjoy it, and I had to do a movie review about it. There's something about the film, quite a few things, and Gene Hackman, he comes back as Lex Luthor, the great. I think he's the best Lex Luthor that we've ever gotten personally on film. Actually, there's been many others that were good, but I personally like. I grew up with him. I got nostalgia. He was in a lot of movies that I liked. Um, Bat 21, I saw him in one of the saddest movies that I'd ever seen him in, and action packed, was him and Patrick Swayze and multiple other characters. Uncommon Valor. That was, I saw that at the theater. It was a double feature, Uncommon Valor and then Missing in Action with Chuck Norris, a double feature. That was a really good movie. And it was sad too, Uncommon Valor. Some touching scenes in there. Yeah, Gene Hackman in The French Connection, of course, and The Poseidon Adventure. I can go on about him. Always like Gene Hackman's acting. Superman 4, to me, it's a really good movie. You may or may not like it. I recommend it. It's worth checking out if you like superhero movies, and especially if you like Superman. No guarantee you're going to love it or really like it like I do, but I give it a thumbs up because it's enjoyable. And to me, when a movie makes me happy, when I am entertained by it and enjoy it, it just goes way up, uh, even if it has flaws. So that's my review of Superman 4. This has been the late night review. And if you subscribe and hit the like button, the thumbs up button, I'd really appreciate it. Share this video, please, and hype it up, pump it up. Tell other people about it. And have a good night, everybody. Take care.